The twin moons rose slowly above the dry planet of Drella. Red sand danced across the empty plains, carried by soft winds. The alien royal ship hovered quietly in the sky, shining like silver against the stars. Inside it, Princess Jaya stared. Out the window, her large green eyes reflected the glowing moons. She was tired of royal duties, tired of rules, tired of always being watched. Just for a little while. She whispered to herself as she slipped out of her chamber. She put on a long brown cloak, hiding her shining royal markings. No one noticed. As she walked quietly through the service tunnels and exited the ship through a lower hatch, how her small boots touched the ground softly, and soon she was alone in the cool night of Drella. Jaya had heard about humans. Some said they were strange and wild. Others called them brave and unpredictable. She had never met one, only seen their faces on reports. She wanted to see how they lived, how they moved, how they smiled. She walked for hours toward a distant light. It looked like a small settlement or maybe a human outpost. But before she could reach it, a sudden gust of wind blew hard across the land. The ground shook, and a sandstorm rose all around her. She screamed and covered her face, but the sand was too strong. It filled her mouth, her eyes, and her lungs. She tripped and fell, rolling down a slope. Darkness took her, not far from the storm. A young human named Leo sat inside his old metal workshop. His place was half buried in sand, made from broken ship parts and scrap walls. He was quiet and alone, living far from busy human cities. He liked peace, machines, and fixing things that others threw away. As the storm hit, the lights in his shop blinked. Leo grabbed his tool belt and stepped outside to check the solar panels. That's when he saw something or someone lying in the sand near the crash zone. He ran toward the figure. As he got closer, he saw a small body curled. Under a cloak, her skin had a soft silver shine, and her long dark hair was covered in dust.
Oh, sure.
She didn't look human. He carefully picked her up and carried her back to the shop. Inside, Leo placed her on a soft chair near the heater. He cleaned her face with a damp cloth and gave her water. She didn't wake up right away. He wrapped her in a blanket and waited after. A few hours, she opened her eyes slowly. Jaya blinked at the strange ceiling, then at the strange man sitting nearby. He had short brown hair, kind eyes, and dirt on his face. Smiled. "You're safe," he said gently. "Storm's over." Didn't understand all his words, but she understood his tone. Soft, calm, not dangerous. "Where?" She tried to speak. "You were out in the storm? Lucky I found you." She sat up slowly. Her body ached, and her memory was blurry. She reached for her wrist. Her cum device was broken. Leo noticed it and said, "I can try to fix that." "Give me some time." Jaya looked at him, confused. He didn't ask who she was. He didn't tie her up. He didn't call anyone. He just helped you. "Not scared of me?" she asked. Leo chuckled. "You don't look scary." She gave a small smile. It was the first time in days she had smiled from her heart. The next morning, Jaya walked around the workshop. Everything was strange. Wires, tools, old machines stacked high, and soft music playing from an old radio. Leo made food simple but warm. He shared it with her, even though supplies were low. She pointed at a drawing on the wall. "What is that?" "Me and my sister. Back on Earth." "Haven't seen her in years? You live alone?" Leo nodded. "Yeah. Peaceful here. No one tells me what to do." Jaya looked down. "This must be nice." Over the next 2 days, she helped him with small things, passing tools, sorting wires, even cleaning the dusty corners. They couldn't speak much, but she learned new human words, and he tried to copy her alien speech. They laughed a lot when words came out wrong. Meanwhile, far above, her royal ship was in chaos. The guards had searched nearby areas and found no trace. Some believed the princess had been taken by humans. Others feared worse. The alien queen, Jia's mother, was silent when told the news. Her face was calm, but her heart screamed. Ordered the royal fleet to scan the whole sector. She would not stop until her daughter was found. But Jaya didn't know all that. She just knew a human had saved her. He didn't know her name. He didn't know she was royal. And still, he gave her food, warmth, and safety. She stood outside one evening, watching the twin moons rise again. Leo came beside her and said, "You'll need to go back soon. Someone must be looking for you." She nodded. "Yes, but thank you." He looked at her, and for the first time noticed her soft royal markings glow under the moonlight. "You're important, aren't you?" Jaya looked down, unsure what to say. Finally, she whispered, "Yes, but not here. Here I'm just someone you saved." Leo smiled. "I'd do it again." Behind the hills, a distant hum began. Ships, lights in. The sky, the royal search team was closing in. And so their quiet time was coming to an end. The soft humming in the distance grew louder. Jaya stood still, eyes locked on the glowing lights appearing above the rocky hills. Royal ships were coming. Leo followed her gaze and felt a strange tightness in his chest. He didn't need to ask. He understood now that she didn't just belong to a different species. She belonged to someone powerful. "They're here for you, right?" he asked quietly. Sehug gave a slow nod. "My people, they found me." Leo stepped back, giving her space. "Then you should go. They've been worried." Jaya turned to face him. "Yes, but they may not understand." "Understand what?" "Oh, you helped me, that you didn't hurt me." "They might think you took me." Leo frowned. "Why would they think that?" She looked down. "They are afraid of humans." Leo didn't answer right away. He had heard stories, 2 stories of aliens who thought humans were wild, untrustworthy, even dangerous. Maybe that's why no one came near his outpost anymore. Maybe they all believed those stories. Shaya touched his arm gently. "I will tell them the truth. I promise." The lights came closer. Beams swept across the ground, scanning the land. Suddenly, 3 royal guards landed with their sleek, silver suits and glowing weapons. They moved fast and surrounded the small workshop. "Do not move." One shouted. Leo raised his hands calmly. "He didn't want trouble, Princess." Another guard cried out, spotting Jaya. "We found her." The guard ran to her and dropped to one knee. "Your Highness, we feared you were lost." "I'm safe," Jaya said firmly. "This human saved me." The guards didn't look at Leo. They grabbed her gently but firmly, ready to take her away. "Wait," she said, stepping back. "He comes with me." "Princess, that is not allowed," the leader said. "He must be questioned. We cannot trust him." Jia's eyes narrowed. "He gave me shelter. He shared his food. He did not ask who I was or where I came from. He treated me like a friend." The guards hesitated. Leo kept his voice calm. "I'm not asking for anything. Just let her go home safely." Before anyone could speak again, a large royal transport ship landed nearby. The wind blew hard as the engines cooled down. A tall figure stepped out, dressed in dark purple robes, surrounded by elite guards. The alien queen herself had arrived. The queen walked straight toward them, her silver crown catching the moonlight. Her face was unreadable. Her eyes moved from the guards to her daughter, then finally to the human. "Jaya," the queen said, voice calm but sharp. "You're alive?" Jaya stepped forward. "Yes, mother. And this human is the reason." The queen looked at Leo. Her gaze was powerful, almost heavy. "What is your name, human?" "Leo," he said simply. "Did you take my daughter?" Leo shook his head. "No, Your Highness. She got caught in the storm. Found her and helped her recover." The queen didn't move. "Why?" Leo looked confused. "Because she needed help." "You didn't know who she was? Not until recently? And still you fed her, sheltered her, and asked for nothing in return?" Leo nodded. She was alone. What else was I supposed to do? The queen looked at her daughter. "Is this true?" Jaya stepped beside Leo. "Yes. All of it." There was silence. The guard stood still. The queen's expression slowly changed from sharp suspicion to something softer. Maybe understanding, maybe respect. Bring him, she said finally. He will come with us. Leo blinked. Wait, what? You will not be punished, the queen said. But you must come. Leo glanced at Jaya. She gave a tiny nod. All right, he said. I'll come. The next hour moved fast. Leo's small workshop faded behind him as they flew toward the royal ship. Inside, everything was polished, glowing, and filled with alien tech. Guards watched him closely, but no one spoke. Jaya walked beside him. I'm sorry, she whispered. Don't be, Leo replied. This is just ... new. They arrived at a large hall filled with alien officials. Looked like a courtroom but warmer, with smooth lights and strange floating symbols. The queen stood before them all, her voice clear. My daughter was found, she began, and a human helped bring her back. Some aliens gasped. Others whispered. Leo stood straight as the queen turned to him. Tell them what happened, she said. Leo spoke simply. He told them about the storm, about how he found Jaya, how he cared for her, and how she helped around the shop. He didn't add anything extra, just the truth. When he finished, the hall was quiet. Then Jaya stepped forward and said, He saved me, Mom. The words echoed through the room. The queen looked around slowly. This human, who had no reason to trust us, still chose kindness. We must ask ourselves, what would we have done if the roles were reversed? No one answered. The queen looked at Leo one more time and said, Thank you. For a moment, the royal hall stayed silent. Many alien officials stared at the human named Leo. Some were confused. Others didn't hide their doubt. Humans had always been talked about as dangerous, hard to trust, or too wild to deal with alien royalty. And yet here stood one calm, kind, and with no demands. Princess Jaya stood proudly beside him. He gave me food, warmth, and safety. When he could have left me, he stayed. One of the council elders stepped forward. His eyes were sharp, his voice colder. With respect, Your Majesty, how do we know he didn't trick the princess? We have no proof. Leo raised his head. I don't expect you to believe me. Everything I said is true. The queen looked at the elder and said, My daughter confirms it, and I believe her. Another elder joined in, but he is a human. We cannot forget what they've done in past cycles. They are still new to the stars. Yes, the queen said calmly. But if one human chose kindness without knowing who she was, maybe the stories are wrong. Leo stood still. He didn't feel angry. He understood why they were cautious. In his world, people feared things they didn't understand too. Fear made it hard to see clearly. Sia spoke again. If I had stayed in the storm, I would have died. He didn't know I was royal. He just saw someone in need. The queen raised her hand, signaling silence. Let this be recorded, she said. We owe this human our thanks. And more importantly, we must reconsider what we teach our young about humans. The officials slowly bowed their heads. None dared argue with the queen when she spoke with that tone. After the court session, Leo was given a room inside the palace. It wasn't a prison cell, but he knew guards were always nearby. He didn't mind. The place was clean, bright, and quiet. And the view showed the whole capital city, tall towers made of crystal and light dot. Later that evening, Jaya visited him. She brought food, alien fruits, and warm soup. Are you okay? She asked. Leo smiled, a little tired, a little confused. Me too, she said. Thank you for standing in that room and speaking clearly. Leo took a breath. I just said what happened. Jaya sat beside him. Still, it matters. I thought you'd be scared. Leo looked out the window. I was, but not of your people. I was more scared they wouldn't let you speak. You believed they would. I believed you would. She blushed slightly and turned her face. I wanted to stay longer at your place. I know, Leo said. I did too. They sat quietly for a while. Meanwhile, across the empire, the news spread fast. The royal princess had been saved by a human outsider, and the queen had defended him in front of the high court. Many alien leaders were shocked. Some planets welcomed humans. Others didn't. For years, the galaxy had watched Earth closely, unsure if humans would become peaceful explorers or wild invaders. And now this human, this unknown man, had shifted the view of one of the most powerful queens. In a hidden chamber, several alien council members gathered without the queen. They whispered about the human, about the danger of trusting his kind. Some feared the queen's decision would weaken them. Others believed the human was special, but only one out of many. "We should test him," one said, "or follow him." Another replied, "Learn what his world teaches." Or, a third said slowly, "We invite more humans here. Under control, carefully." No final decision was made that night. But eyes had opened, plans had begun. Back at the palace, Leo asked Jaya, "So what now?" She smiled softly. "You can return to your home if you wish." The queen said, "You're free to go." Leo looked down. "No, if I want to stay." Jaya paused. "Then I would be happy." He chuckled. "You're not just saying that." She shook her head. "You fixed my cum crystal. You gave me food. You listened when I was scared. No one back home has ever done all that for me." Leo looked at her. "You're not like what I expected either." "What did you expect?" He smiled. "Someone who looks down on humans. Someone who never laughs at bad jokes." She laughed. "Your jokes are very bad." They both smiled. Xiao reached into her pocket and pulled out a small glowing stone. "This is for you." "What is it?" "It lets you send a message to me, no matter where I am." Leo touched the stone gently. "Thank you." She stood. "Tomorrow, the queen will speak with you alone. I don't know what she'll offer, but I hope you'll listen." "I will," he said. When Jaya left, Leo sat quietly and looked at the stone. The stars outside blinked slowly. He had come from a lonely workshop on a desert world. Now, he was in a royal palace, treated as a guest by one of the galaxy's rulers, and all because he chose to help someone without asking who she was. The next morning, the palace was quiet. Guards stood in perfect lines, servants moved with soft steps, and above all, the queen's chamber doors were closed. Inside, Queen Vena waited. She stood by a wide window, her eyes on the sky. Her mind was busy not with war plans or trade matters, but with a human named Leo. When the door opened, she turned slowly. Leo entered the chamber, guided by two royal guards. He bowed slightly, unsure what the proper greeting was. "You may rise," the queen said gently. "Thank you for coming," Leo nodded. "Of course, your majesty." She walked forward, her long robe flowing behind her. "You have made quite the impression on my daughter." Leo smiled a little. "She made one on me too." The queen sat on a smooth, glowing chair and motioned for him to sit on the bench across from her. "I wanted to speak to you without the court, just as two people." Leo sat. "I'll answer whatever I can." "Good," the queen said. "Tell me about Earth, not what our records say. I want to hear from someone who lives there." Leo paused, then spoke slowly. "Earth is ... messy, full of life. Some people are kind, some are not. We have beauty and problems. Sometimes we fight too much. Sometimes we help each other. ... But it's our home." The queen listened closely. "And you? Why did you choose to live alone, so far from your cities?" Leo thought for a moment. I didn't like all the noise. I wanted peace. I like fixing things. Machines don't lie or change their minds." She raised an eyebrow. "But you helped my daughter. That was not a machine." He smiled. She looked lost and cold. "I couldn't just walk away, even though she was alien." Leo nodded. "Didn't matter. She needed help." The queen studied him. "You remind me of someone who my father. He helped strangers too, even those who once fought against our people. I didn't understand him then. But now..." She looked out the window again. Leo followed her gaze. "You're not what I expected either. Most rulers in stories are proud, distant." The queen gave a small smile. "I was proud, before I almost lost my daughter." Silence sat between them for a few seconds. Then she asked, "Do you wish to return to your home?" Leo looked down. "I thought I did, but now I'm not sure." Jaya wants you to stay, the queen said softly. Leo blinked. She told you that? The queen gave a short nod. My daughter rarely says what she feels. She holds everything inside. But after she met you, she changed. She talks more, laughs more. Leo's heart beat faster. She's strong and smart. She didn't need saving, really. Just a little. Help. The queen leaned back. Would you consider staying here? Not as a prisoner, not as a servant, but as a guest or ally. Leo stared at her. Why? Because you understand something many of our people have forgotten. Kindness without reason. Help without reward. Leo stayed quiet. He hadn't expected this. We don't know much about humans, the queen continued. Many fear your kind, but perhaps... we judge too soon. If you stay, you could help us understand your world better. And we could understand you too, Leo asked carefully. And if I say no, then we'll take you back to your home safely. You'll be respected, never bothered. He nodded. That's fair. The queen stood. To think but know this. Leo, whatever you decide, you have my thanks. She turned and walked to the far end of the chamber. As he left the room, Jaya waited outside. How did it go? She asked quickly. Your mom is... Something else, Leo said with a smile. Jaya laughed. She can be scary. Not really, Leo replied. She just hides her heart behind her crown. Jaya raised an eyebrow. That's deep. Chuckled. She asked me to stay. Jaya looked away. And will you? He took a breath. I don't know yet. They walked together through the palace gardens. Soft, glowing flowers lit the path, and strange birds flew above the tall trees. What do you want, Jaya? Leo asked. She stopped walking. I want... freedom, to choose my own path. It's not just what the crown says, and maybe someone to walk that path with. He looked at her. You mean someone like me? He asked. Maybe, she whispered, but only if he chooses to. They stood in silence under the glowing trees. Leo slowly reached into his pocket and held up the stone she gave him. Does this work from anywhere? He asked. Zhee nodded. Yes, Leo smiled. Then even if I go, we won't be far. Jaya smiled too. But I still hope you'll stay. Leo looked up at the stars. For the first time, he didn't feel so alone. Maybe the galaxy wasn't as cold as he thought. Maybe it just needed more people willing to help without needing a reason. The sun rose over the shining city of Eldris. Soft light passed through crystal towers and reached the palace walls. Inside, the queen sat in her private garden, waiting. Leo walked in slowly, his steps quiet but sure. He had thought all night. Memories of his quiet life, the workshop, the stars above Dreelal, mixed with thoughts of Jia's laughter and the queen's offer. He stopped in front of the queen and bowed. She looked at him with calm eyes. Have you decided? Leo nodded. Yes, your majesty, I'll stay. A small smile touched the queen's lips. May I ask why? Because I believe there's more for me here than back home. Because your daughter has more courage than anyone I've met. And because if I leave now, I'll always wonder what could have happened. The queen rose from her seat, then welcome, not as a guest, but as part of this house. Not by blood, but by bond. Leo was surprised. Bond. She held out a small box. Inside was a glowing pendant shaped like a star with gentle blue light. This is the sigil of my line. Only those I trust wear it. It grants you freedom in this world. It shows others that you are one of us. Leo touched the pendant, humbled. Thank you. I'll wear it with care. Just then, Jaya appeared, out of breath. You're really staying? Leo looked at her and smiled. Yeah, someone told me the stars are prettier here. She laughed and stepped closer. I'm glad. Over the next few days, life changed. Quickly for Leo. Alien workers built him a personal space within the Palissa mix of human comfort and alien design. It had tools, machines, and even small human touches he never thought he'd see again. The Queen had asked the Earth's embassy to send his favorite things. Jaya visited often, sometimes helping with small repairs, sometimes just sitting quietly with him. The bond between them grew stronger each day, but not everyone was happy in the outer cities. They didn't like that a human and outsider was now close to the royal family. Some whispered that it was dangerous. Others feared humans would gain too much influence. A few leaders from nearby systems requested meetings with the queen. They asked polite questions, but behind their words were doubts. Can we trust him?
Out.
Queen replied calmly, trust is earned, and he has earned mine. Another said, what message does this send to the galaxy? She answered, that peace begins with small acts, and we are not afraid to lead. Behind closed doors, one of her advisors warned, your people are divided. Some support your decision. Others think this human will weaken the crown. Queen listened, but her face did not change. They feared humans before because of old stories. Now they fear change. But it is time the stories changed. Leo, hearing some of these whispers, didn't complain. He continued working, helping fix palace systems, learning alien languages, teaching what he could about Earth tech. He also spent time with the young palace staff, teaching them how to repair simple tools, showing them how to recycle old machines. Many began to respect him not because he wore a pendant, but because he worked with them like a friend. One afternoon, as he tightened a loose pipe in the palace kitchen, a small alien child looked up at him and asked, are you the human who saved the princess? Leo smiled and nodded. The child beamed. You're nice, thank you, Leo replied. You're nice too. News of small moments like that spread across the city. Slowly, opinions began to change. The scary stories about humans faded. They were replaced by new ones, about a quiet human with kind eyes and skilled hands who fixed broken things and helped without asking for reward. ZHEEE stood by him through all of it. One evening, she took him to a quiet hill above the city. Glowing flowers lit the path, and the stars shone above. You've changed everything, she said softly. Not everything, Leo said. Just started something new. You gave us hope, she whispered. Leo looked at her. You gave me something too. She tilted her head. What? A reason to stay. She smiled, and for the first time, reached out and held his hand. The stars above them blinked like tiny fires, and somewhere far away, in a different part of the galaxy, a new message was being written, one that told the story of a human who saved a princess, gained the queen's trust, and began to heal old fears. Days passed, then weeks. Leo's presence in the alien palace was no longer strange. People bowed politely when he walked by. Some even smiled. The machines he fixed stayed working. The quiet places he liked became brighter. Princess Jaya often walked beside him, laughing more than ever before. But not everyone was ready to accept peace in a distant system. A rebel group that hated both the crown and humans received the news. They believed aliens and humans should never mix. To them, Leo's presence near the royal family was a danger. They saw his friendship with the queen's daughter as a weakness to strike. One night, as the palace lights dimmed and the stars turned, quiet, a shadow entered the main city. A small group of rebels, cloaked in dark armor, moved through hidden paths. They had one goal: capture the human. Leo didn't know this. He was inside the workshop, working late on a damaged air filter. Jaya had brought him snacks and stayed nearby, reading on her glowing pad. Everything felt calm. Then the power flickered. Did you do something? Jaya asked. Leo looked up. No, that's not me. Suddenly alarms rang out across the palace. Guards shouted through the halls. Leo stood up fast. Stay behind me, he said, even though he had no weapon. Two rebels burst into the room, their faces hidden. They aimed stunners at Leo. You don't belong here, human, one said. Leo raised his hands. I don't want trouble. Stepped closer. Come with us now, Jaya shouted. No. And grabbed a metal rod from the table. She threw it at the rebel's hand, knocking his weapon aside. Leo rushed forward, using his tools as defense. He pushed one attacker back and pulled Jaya behind a workbench. The palace guards arrived moments later. The rebels were forced to retreat, but not before one shouted, "This is just the beginning." Jaya shook with anger. "Are you okay?" she asked Leo. "I'm fine. You?" She nodded, but her hands trembled. They came for you. Yeah, he said quietly. Because I stayed. The queen arrived quickly. Her eyes scanned the damage, then moved to her daughter, then to Leo. This cannot continue, she said firmly. Leo stood. They were after me. I don't want to bring danger to your home. You didn't, the queen replied. They brought it themselves. Your choice to help someone you didn't know, my daughter, is not the problem. It is the answer. The next day, the queen called a council meeting. Officials, city leaders, and commanders gathered to hear her speak. Some still fear the human among us, she began. But last night, we saw the truth. He was the target, but he did not run. He protected my daughter again, without armor, without power. Only with courage. She looked at everyone. We cannot build peace on fear. We must build it on trust. The hall was silent. Then one commander stepped forward. Your Majesty, I was wrong. I doubted him, but now I see. Others slowly nodded. Outside the palace, people gathered to show support. Flowers were placed at the gates. Messages of thanks appeared on holoscreens. Children drew pictures of a human fixing machines and standing with the princess. Later that evening, Jaye met Leo on the same garden hill. You didn't have to fight back, she said softly. I wasn't going to let them take me, Leo said. And I wasn't going to let them hurt you. She smiled gently. You've done more than anyone here ever expected. Leo looked up at the sky. I never thought I'd be standing here on a hill in a city of stars, talking to a princess about fighting off rebels. She laughed. And I never thought I'd trust a human so deeply. He looked at her, serious now. Do you? Yes, she whispered. With all my heart. Leo held the pendant the queen had given him. It glowed softly. I don't need to go back. Not yet. Then stay, Jaya said. Not as a visitor, but as someone who belongs. He nodded slowly. I want to, the queen, watching from a distance, smiled. Later that night, she made an announcement to the empire. Human who saved my daughter will remain here as our friend, our ally, and our honored guest. He is not just a symbol of peace, but proof that sometimes one kind act changes everything. The stars above the palace blinked as the message traveled. Across systems and far away in other parts of the galaxy, others began to wonder. Maybe humans were not to be feared. Maybe kindness, even from a stranger, could become something powerful. And on that hill under the stars, the princess leaned her head on Leo's shoulder. No longer just the human who saved her, but the one who stayed.